Yo, what is going on guys, my name is NTK and today I'm actually back with a new wheelie tutorial. And I'm gonna ask so much just to make a wheelie tutorial, so I figured that I'll eventually do it. I've done a wheelie tutorial before, which you can find in the description below. But I made that video like 3 years ago, and that was just when I was learning wheelies. So a lot of the techniques are not that good in that video as they are now. But this time we're on a 450 instead of 50, so it's a complete different world. In this video I'm gonna teach you how to make a wheelie on a bike like this. So we'll start from the beginning level, from complete beginner. And of course this is your rear brake, or you can have a handbrake here. But once you press the brake, you're going down from the wheelie, and that's the key for doing wheelies. The throttle, of course, it's important, but the brake is more important. On this bike it's so much engine braking, so you can almost scrape the license plate without using your brake. But you shouldn't do that in the beginning, okay? So the first step you'll have to learn when doing wheelies is just getting used to the feeling of the bike going up, having the front wheel lift off the ground. That's just the first step for doing a wheelie. And you should always cover your rear brake, have your foot over your brake. And I got one tip which has made a lot of people learn how to wheelie. I mean, you could practice for years and not learn the brake. I know people that has been riding for like 6-7 years without learning how to use the brake. But with this technique you learn the brake in like a couple hours. The only thing you have to do is just to drag on the brake. You shouldn't cover the brake, you should have a little pressure on the brake at all times. As long as you have a little pressure on the brake, you can never wheel over. And that's the truth. I mean, if you have a little pressure on the brake, of course dragging on the brake will wear out your brake pads, but you will never loop. You can't loop if you have brake on, and you're less likely to take your feet off your pegs. And that's the main reason people crash. It's because they move their feet outside of the pegs. So as long as you have a little pressure on the brake, then you can never wheel over. And the balance point doesn't feel the same when you have a little pressure on the brake as when you don't. So that will help you learn super quick. A secret for y'all that nobody probably has told you. I'm gonna show you how a complete beginner does it. But you should never learn how to change gears before you learn how to coast. You should learn how to do a coaster wheelie before you learn how to use the gear shifter. If you start to learn how to change gears in a wheelie, then you will never learn how to use the brake. Of course you can learn it, but it will take like so much longer just to do it. And the key to do a wheelie is to be high all the time. You can start in first gear, or if you want to, second gear, and not over third gear. And you don't use the clutch right now. Have a foot over your brake, and this will be really scary in the beginning. Just give it on throttle like this. Okay. Woo, that was scary, you're gonna say. And you do it again. Just smooth gas, put it on like this. That's all you gotta do. And when you get more comfortable, you can do longer like this. You can do longer, but don't change gears. Don't do that. Okay, once you get used to just getting it up a little bit, you're gonna start practicing with the clutch, because you're always using the clutch in a wheelie. Okay, so you ride around and have your clutch like this. You pull it in, give it a little gas, and then drop it. Don't use your hand, just do it like this, pulling clutch, have a little gas, just hear the revs like this, and then you let it out. And then you can try more and more and see how much you need. You don't have to pop it super quick, just let it out pretty fast like this. Getting it up is the easy part with a bike like this. It's not hard to get it up. You can just give it a little pop, and then it will go up. Let's pretend that you're used to doing that now. It doesn't feel scary anymore. Now you're just gonna practice the height. Alright, so let's say you're getting comfortable with doing that now. So you can pop it up, but you can't quite go to the balance point. And you don't know how to come up to the balance point because it feels super sketchy. And once again, just drag on the brake. That's all you gotta do. Have a little pressure on the brake, then you can go how high as you want. It's in your head. So when you know you can't crash, it won't feel as bad going high. So I'm gonna show you how to do it. So you're probably going like this, but you're probably going a bit higher speed than I do. But I'm just gonna show you because I have a small parking lot here. So you just pop it up, then you just chase it out like that, and then you're gonna do it higher and higher each time. Like there you go. Okay, like that. And you should have, if you have pressure on your brake and you put more and more pressure, then you'll eventually slow down the wheelie. And that's the key, slowing down a wheelie. Then you can wheelie how long as you want. Then the problem is only turning. So pop it, and then go higher, brake more, and it will slow down. You hear? That's what happens. You don't need to pull in the clutch. Just let it engine brake. And once you get used to the balance point, you can start to do more technical stuff, like doing circle wheelies. And I could learn you circle wheelies in another tutorial if you want to, if that's what you want to learn. And another tip I could give you is on 4 strokes, they should never really shut the throttle. I mean, if you come from a moped, you usually use the gas like this, but the thing you should do is just to keep it steady. Have it on one place, and instead of moving your hand, you can adjust the pressure on your brake. It maybe sounds kind of weird, but it actually works. It's a lot easier. So if you have your hand stuck like this, just give it a bit of throttle and just adjust it with your foot. And that's how you're gonna come up to the balance point. Have it steady and just adjust the pressure. That's all there is to it. It maybe sounds simple now, but it's a lot harder to do in reality. But once you learn it, it's pretty easy actually. But I mean, I've done this for like 3 years now, so of course it's easy for me, but for you it's gonna be another story. And you could also watch my 50cc video, because in that video I'm a complete beginner. Not a complete, but I've done it for like half a year there I'm feeling like you. And in that video I said gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake. But the thing you should do is have steady gas and steady brake, and it will become so much easier. And the next step is to learn how to coast. If you're in a parking lot, you can learn how to coast, but if you want to ride the street, you should definitely learn how to turn. Turning is often harder than going high, because going high is just a mindset. Turning, it's technique. It's actually true. So I'll show you how to turn, and then you could eventually do circle wheelies when you're good at it. So you should just pop it up, and then you just move the handlebars like this. Then it will turn. No, I'm in a power wheelie now, and then you just turn the bars like this. It's a lot harder in the beginning, but it's actually all you gotta do. Don't use your legs like this. The only thing you should do is just grab onto the tank and just, like when you're just riding normal, pretend this is a wheelie. When I do this, it's turning left, turning left, turning right, turning left, turning right. And the weight should be on your butt, so the balance should be in the butt, in the hips. Turning with your hips and bars. Don't turn with your upper body and your legs, because that won't do shit. Use your hip and your bars, and you will turn so much easier. Okay, so look at this now. I'm gonna turn left, but gonna go straight. Look, I'm going out to the bars, but it doesn't turn. You see? I'm going out, but it doesn't turn, because I'm just doing it with my upper body. You should use your hips and your bars, and that's the way to turn. And and coasting is just pulling in the clutch and just chilling. That's all it is to it. And once you get used to coasting, you could always do scrapes and stuff, and then you just pull in the clutch and just let it fall back. And if you guys want a more in-depth tutorial of some techniques on a wheelie, you could ask me in the comments, and all of you as a community could like answer each other, give us tips, and just be active in the comments and just talk to each other. That's the best way to learn, is to learn by others' experiences. And once you get all the leaves, all the little techniques, then you just put it together into one plant, and you'll know how to do it. One thing more that a guy taught me that was super good when I was learning wheelies is that people always ask how far you should sit on your seat. So I'm sitting here, so I'm sitting like I'm doing when I'm riding usual, and you can see it like this. Let's say this is your bike. If you sit down here, it's gonna be super easy to turn, but it's also gonna be unstable, right? If you sit in the middle, It's a lot more stable, but it's harder to turn. So the higher up on your seat you sit, the more stable the bike gets, but it's also harder to steer. So you should sit somewhere in the middle. That's the best place to sit. But of course, if you're sitting here, it's easier to turn, but at the same time, you look like an idiot. You guys may have different techniques. I want you to tell me down in the comments how you do it and if you progress anything. And eventually you'll go back to a scrape. Hello guys, NTK from the future. Just wanted to say one thing. Right, so another thing that's really helpful for learning wheelies is just to have a small parking lot. If you have a huge long parking lot, you'll chase out it forever. But if you have something that's in your way, like imagine you're wheeling onto a wall, then that will help you to get it higher, because you have to have it higher if you want to go slower. The logic may seem weird, but it actually works. If you have a small parking lot, you progress faster than if you have a big parking lot. And that's proven in a lot of studies from NTK. Hallå där grabbar! But that's it for this wheel tutorial. If you like this wheel tutorial and it helps you, and another thing you can do to also get motivated is just to watch videos that you like before you go out riding. I always watch some videos that I personally like before I go out and doing wheelies, and that gets me super motivated. And doing wheelies isn't dangerous if you do it right. If you do it in the way I told you, then it's not that dangerous. But if you start to change gears and not using the brake, not holding pressure, and then of course then it's dangerous. But if you do it my way, then you're fine. So thanks for watching, give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video.
I don't believe in any church and its ministers, and don't listen to my bangers without fire extinguishers. Ready, I've been ready way back, right? I'm a sign with an X's. If we're talking about X's, like I'm better in bowling than in real life. Too bad I'm not a bowler. If anyone asks, tell them that I'm a great stranger with one favor. My two favorite words are one finger. So when I'm in the club, I got my own section. Sipping Jamie with another nigga's lady.